No one anticipated that a little girl's voice would alter the course of a political gathering full of contentious debates and prepared speeches. Lily, who was just 8 years old, made a simple yet very powerful question that surprised even one of the most divisive leaders in the world. She inquired, "What does God mean to you?" A period of intense emotion and introspection ensued. Everyone was taken aback by Trump's genuine and vulnerable reaction, which brought several audience members to tears. Prepare yourselves for this amazing tale that hits on a deeper level than politics. Religion, redemption, and the bravery of a little boy who used simple but impactful language to question a behemoth. The room was full that day. The air was charged, with the usual intensity of a political rally, complete with flags, cameras, and whispers. The boredom was abruptly broken by something. A little hand was raised among a group of grown-ups busy with their goals and worries. Lily, an 8-year-old girl with charming confidence and inquisitive eyes, requested the microphone. Her clear, unadulterated voice rang out like a lightning strike in the formal setting. She questioned, "Mr. Trump, what is God to you?" The question had an instant effect. Trump, who had only seconds before exuded his typical air of confidence, halted. His eyes met the girl's, and it was clear that he was surprised. The crowd held its breath after becoming engrossed in robotic applauding. They were taken aback, not just by the inquiry, but also by how earnest it seemed from such a young person. It seemed as if Lily had succeeded in bringing out something very human via her innocence and dissolving the boundaries of formality. The hush in the room was almost tangible as Trump thought over his answer. The girl's inquiry appeared to reverberate. More strongly than any planned remarks, she had evoked a sympathetic response in him and everyone else in the room. It was an uncommon and unexpected occasion. In an attempt to capture what seemed to be a sincere moment of introspection, cameras focused on his face. In a sense, the scenario seemed both dramatic and oddly authentic. There was more to that straightforward query. Lily was more than simply an inquisitive youngster. There was something in her gaze that captivated and deterred any effort at a flimsy response, as if she knew more than she revealed. Everyone secretly wanted to ask such question, but lacked the confidence to do so. She was now doing what no one else dared to do. Trump inhaled deeply without hurry, as if he were getting ready to face something greater than himself. And the room had changed in that instant. What had started off as just another political gathering now had the potential for something more profound. Maybe even revolutionary, since the tone had changed. Trump smiled a little, almost nostalgically, before start his answer. Leaning slightly forward, he adjusted the microphone as if he were about to reveal something that is seldom revealed. His voice was surprisingly quiet as he began, "My father used to say that life is like a ladder when I was a child. To ascend, you need strength, but to avoid falling, you need guts." His statements took an unexpected turn, and the crowd stayed in complete quiet. He spoke about growing up in New York, where everything seemed to be made of concrete and high standards. For Trump as a child, religion was something ethereal and far away. He spoke about times when he was confused and couldn't make sense of what he was going through. Even the doubters in the group were taken aback by his candor when he said, "I didn't know what God was. However, I knew that in order to continue moving up that ladder, I needed to have faith in something bigger than myself." Throughout his narration, Trump mentioned personal struggles that seemed to run counter to the commanding and self-assured character that everyone had become used to witnessing. He spoke about internal conflicts that no one saw and losses that didn't reach the news, as he described times when he felt trapped on a rung, unable to go up or down. His tone became more somber. At that moment, I understood that endurance means more than merely advancing. It's about having faith that each step is worthwhile. The crowd was caught between astonishment and interest. Instead of the prepared statements that many had anticipated, they were treated to a unique moment of vulnerability. He described how religion was a constant process for him, like an unending ladder that required reinforcement at each step, rather than something that was prefabricated. "Life isn't easy," he remarked, taking another moment to glance at Lily. "But it's amazing because of it. Every obstacle we face and every uncertainty we have leads us to something bigger." His remarks had a compelling quality to them. Even those who weren't his biggest fans were compelled to participate in the event. In addition to challenging Trump, Lily's question encouraged him to show a side of himself that is seldom seen. To everyone's astonishment, he agreed to the task. However, it became evident at the end of his speech that this was only one side of the tale. The room sensed there was more to discover. Trump hesitated for a lengthy, somewhat ponderous period, as if he was gathering the strength to confront the following step. His stance changed slightly, and the already quiet chamber became even more focused. With a rare hint of grief in his voice, he added, "I lost my brother, Fred. He had the ability to brighten any space, but he also had struggles that not everyone could see. As a brother, and someone who has personally seen the devastation caused by tough decisions and internal conflicts, Trump made it apparent how profoundly this loss had affected his life. According to Trump, Fred had a giving heart and a free spirit, but his personal troubles overwhelmed him. He described how he made an effort to assist, and how the family eventually came together, but Fred ultimately made his own decisions. He continued, gazing down for a while, as if recalling the gravity of the situation. "It was a hard lesson, one of the hardest I've ever had to learn." The anguish in his remarks appeared to be absorbed by the room as it breathed with him. Trump said that he had long held himself responsible for his brother's death. "What could I have done differently?" I would question myself. "Was I a bad brother? Did I fail to see the signs?" He acknowledged that these issues plagued him for years, leaving a gap that felt insurmountable. But as time went on, he came to understand that forgiveness, both for his brother and for himself, was more important for atonement than discovering answers. He discovered a new purpose as a result of this procedure. Trump spoke on how Fred's passing motivated him to strive for more, cherish the little things, and be more resilient. His voice was firm, but nonetheless impassioned as he said, "Fred taught me one thing. You can love with all of your heart while there is still time, but you can't save everyone." The crowd responded strongly to the strong message, but there was still a sense of mystery. Trump had done more than just reminisce. He had ingrained a question in everyone's thoughts. How did Fred's passing still influence his decisions and outlook on life? One couldn't help but wonder what more might be disclosed about this very personal aspect of such a divisive character. Little Lily said nothing while Trump talked, but there was something unique about her. The weight of the attention her query had garnered and the in-depth responses that were emerging didn't appear to scare her. Her hands were clasped in her lap as she sat there, staring at Trump as if she were taking in everything he said. How someone so young could maintain such composure in the midst of such a momentous occasion was astounding. Lily's courage transcended her inquiry. The grown-ups around her had to reconsider their own opinions because of the way she listened with an almost magical serenity. Many of the audience members who had first seen the incident with interest now regarded her with adoration. Others only gazed, as if they were watching something quite miraculous, while others muttered to one another, attempting to figure out what may have inspired a little girl to pose such a meaningful question. However, there seemed to be a universe of ideas hidden behind that composed exterior. Maybe Lily was aware of the effect her query would have, or maybe it was simply a child's natural curiosity. In any case, her quiet bravery had fundamentally altered the situation. Because of her, Trump, who had before been engrossed in his typical political bluster, was now acutely aware of the situation. Sitting next to Lily, her mother looked proud, but unsurprised. It seemed as if her daughter had previously shown this resolve at earlier points in her life, making it a part of her character. Even still, there remained a sense of mystery about what was happening, even to her mother. Few grown-ups appeared to be able to touch people the way Lily did without uttering another word. Lily's influence extended beyond Trump. Her inquiry served as a reminder that often the most significant lessons are conveyed by the smallest voices in the room. However, the issue still stood. What had inspired Lily to pose that query? Was there more going on here, or was it just curiosity? There was a feeling of suspense in the air as she remained silent, leaving the response open. As the event went on, the crowd started to experience something incredible. And surprising mood of reflection replaced the typical political rally intensity. Quiet contemplations and contemplative looks took the place of the fervent arguments about economics and political tactics that had previously dominated conversations. Lily's query had set off Trump's remarks, which had elevated the occasion beyond mere politics. Individuals who had never spoken to one another started whispering to each other, while some just remarked on how the question had caused them to consider their own views. Others provided personal anecdotes. In the calculating and sometimes icy world of words and promises, it seemed as if Lily had kindled a human light. What had begun as a routine incident had evolved into a shared experience of empathy and vulnerability. People with strong sentiments, both good and negative, regarding Trump were among the throng. However, such designations didn't seem as significant at the time. Someone speaking from the heart had briefly taken the place of the divisive character, and even the doubters were unable to deny the sincerity. A guy whispered to his wife, "I never thought I'd hear something like this from a politician," and she only nodded silently, still taking in the words. Normally disinterested in such events, the youngsters in the crowd started to pay attention. It seemed as if Lily's bravery had roused something inside them as well. Visibly touched, other parents gazed at their kids with a mixture of pride and optimism, maybe questioning if they should also encourage them to pose important questions. A significant change in the event's dynamics was indicated by the looks and silent grins that were exchanged. The room was dominated by an air of reflection, yet this was not the end. Still, there was a feeling that something much bigger was approaching, something that would make this moment really special. Although Lily's inquiry had sparked more in-depth conversations, the real change was just getting started. No one was the same person who had entered the room at the conclusion of the event. An unanticipated celebration of human connection had emerged from what had begun as just another political meeting. Individuals who had never spoken to one another started conversing, exchanging thoughts and experiences. It seemed as if Lily's inquiry had sown a seed of empathy, one that swiftly spread across the audience. Trump left the stage to address the audience directly, breaking with his custom of concluding rallies with ceremonial applause. He listened to tales, shook hands, and briefly seemed to put the politician aside in favor of being simply another person looking for solutions. His manner had changed. There was an openness and sensitivity that were uncommon. Lily continued to be the silent force behind this change at its core. She and her mother were contacted by many guests who expressed their gratitude for bringing such a significant issue to light. "You reminded us of what truly matters," remarked a lady, clearly distraught as she clasped Lily's hands. "I appreciate your bravery." Lily gave a hesitant grin, but the effect of what she had done made her eyes glitter. The talks carried on outside the venue. In small groups, strangers spoke about their own values and views, in addition to Trump's remarks. In such a divided society, there was a palpable feeling of solidarity. It seemed as if divides had been abandoned for a few hours in favor of something bigger. The customary flurry of hasty departures and farewells did not accompany the event's conclusion. Rather, the crowd hung on, unwilling to leave the moment. Together with Trump's surprising candor, Lily's courage had produced something special, a place where religion and vulnerability came together, uniting individuals who may not have otherwise interacted. Trump's answer to Lily's inquiry serves as a crucial reminder that often the most profound lessons are learned from the most straightforward situations. In an environment where such conversations appeared unattainable, an 8-year-old girl was able to spark a conversation about religion, humanity, and meaning. Have you ever taken the time to consider what is most important in your life? Leave a comment below with your opinions and share this tale with someone who should hear its message. Remember to turn on alerts and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any amazing tales like this one. Every narrative has the capacity to alter our worldview, and you won't want to miss what happens next.